Hello, hello. We are
Are we
live.
are we live yet? I'm so ready to go live, Vlada.
Yes, that's the energy, right? To bring over lunch break. So if you're walking, if you're dancing like Anna, or you're just quickly grabbing your bite, we are back with you with our weekly chew on this.
Chew on this, and chew on this. This is when Vlada is sharing. What are you typically sharing, Vlada?
I'm sharing,
Practical thoughts.
right. I'm sharing practical thoughts
What about you
and
sharing?
you are sharing thought-provoking thoughts.
So thought provoking versus practical, or not versus, in combination of practical. I think this is what every every founder, I wouldn't say every founder, but I'm pretty sure there are other people watching this show. Everyone needs, right, to be kind of on the same page with the world, on the same page with everything that is happening in the world, right?
Exactly.
So today, what are we talking about? Today, actually, I really, of course, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about how to get 1,000 customers, your first 1,000 customers. But I want to kick it off, Lada, just to motivate our listeners a little bit more and motivate myself because I haven't gotten to that head count of users yet. How many users have you eventually nailed for class tag for your company?
Well, the number is actually still feels surreal, but we had just over 5 million parents, teachers, and administrators using it.
Oh my God, 5 million? It's more. Wow, this is five. This is a population of of my hometown times five, right? So like I am from Odessa, Ukraine. There like about 1 million people living there. So it's five times, right? And Miami even less than a million, right? We have like 600,000
Yeah, I
maybe
think it
here.
depends on how you count. But yeah, this is an impressive number and certainly was a huge team effort. But this topic of the first customers and gaining that first scale is so critical. It's actually my favorite topic because if you can figure out how to sell, and marketing is selling too, just at a typically at a different price point and different scale. But I think that one expression I love is that even though we had 5 million users, we've touched and affected many more, right? Because your marketing and your sales efforts will always go further than your product ever will. And I think that as we think about this topic, I think idea of adding value as part of your go-to-market is really critical. And with that, Anna, we'll start with our blitz round.
Blitz round. Yeah, to be honest, I really want you to start with the blitz round. And let me first launch this conversation with the question, right? So, the blitz round is your top three tips to get that 1,000 users. Well, users or customers. Let's just like brainstorm on this. So, Vlada, I'm going to time it 3 minutes. Or
Three
just kidding.
minutes, go.
Take as much time as you want. We really want, like, I personally want to learn, and I'm pretty sure everyone wants to learn. What are your top three tips?
Yes. So I think we'll go into strategies later, but my top three tips are: one, there is no one way to grow your sales and get your customers. And a lot of people say, hey, I have XYZ product. Tell me, how do I get those customers? And the point is that nobody can tell you, only your customers can, because they will vote with their wallet. And so, regardless of what gurus say or what we big gurus tell you here or other ones, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, tip number one is you can only listen to your customers because they will show it to you with their signups, with their wallets, and whatever other commitment you are asking them to give you. Uh, Number two is if you find one channel that works, you have to put all your efforts and energy into this. too many folks that I'm seeing that are early founders. They are doing 50 different things, then they don't know what is working, and they are too fragmented with very limited resources. And so when we talk about product market fit and actually finding traction and scale, it has to be one customer persona, one message, one offer, one channel. And so once you nail that, right? Once you nail that, then you can expand. But it can take you, frankly, years, and substantial scale in that one combination. And so that is, I think, really, really critical, because we as founders are afraid to say no, right? So as they say, strategy is as much about what you say yes to as what you say no to. And in this case, when you find something working, double down, lean in, make it perfect. And that requires focus. And then number three is somewhat conflicting with number two, but you have to reserve maybe 10% or 15% of your time, budget, energy into small experimentation, because you don't want to be in a situation when that, let's say, Facebook changes algorithm, all of a sudden you don't have a go to market, or something happens with email bounce rates, or whatever that strategy is that you're using. You want to be prepared, so you are doing some small experiments with small budgets and limited number of people or effort in that experimentation bucket. And so that's my tip number three.
I love
Or-
it. I have a quick question, just getting back to what you said about channels, right? When you said that you should see what channel is working and double down on that channel. What? But again, in my experience, and I think if other founders or business people also experience that. What do you like? Sometimes this channel stops working, right? And the thing is that people, I mean, companies and I don't know, founders, right? They keep using this channel because it was working before, but now they stop work. Like, what do you recommend? Like, how do you understand that? Okay, the channel has saturated itself, for example, and like, what do we do? Like, do we give it up completely, or we try to, I don't know, restart it? Have you experienced this?
that the channel stops. Yeah, typically, I think it depends. I think we've certainly seen, I think it's easier to see when you're doing some high budgets paid marketing, and you can see that there is certain mileage that, let's say we had actually this one teacher with markers, and that teacher with markers brought, I don't know, half of our users, for example. For some reason, that visual really worked. And so, and then there is a lot of mileage on that, right? But you start seeing some signs before it's dead, right? That it has a deteriorating performance.
Are you
Um,
talking about teachers with markers? Are you talking about the visual, the creative, the
yes, exactly. In this case, it was as specific as there was one teacher with one set of markers that worked really well, and there
what
was
was the
nothing else.
colors? I don't know. The colors
The
attracted you.
colors, right? It's something was working about it. And so of course what we started doing is a lot of experiments to figure out if different teacher with markers would also work, or maybe the same teacher not with markers but with something else, right? And so you start experimenting. But I think what's really important about experiments is that in most cases they don't just stop, right? And so there is still a lot more you can do to continue sort of driving that wave. And so that also means that something actually my co-founder told me, which I love, is when you're doing experiments, you don't want to find a local maximum, because you want to make sure that you can see the whole mountain system, right? And I think that's a really important concept to have in mind when you think about optimization, because until you found something that works, you have to go broad.
Yeah.
But then when you did, then you can start optimizing, changing markers and teachers and all sorts of permutations.
Are you also talking about the ads that you ran on Facebook, or was it like Google Ads? What worked for you for your first 1,000 users?
Yeah. what worked for our first 1,000 users, and of course there are things that don't scale and things that scale, but it was very clear that overall what worked for us as an overarching strategy was teachers talking to teachers, meaning, and I think that applies to pretty much any business, right? Or when you have something that's so vertically
That was my
focused. Oh
tip.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, that whatever we did, it was teachers talking to teachers, right? And so it was our testimonials, it was posting in groups, it was a variety of different strategies we used over time. But in the early days in particular, it was find those teachers that loved the product. And the first, let's say, 100 I found by hand. And then the 1,000 came from those 100, right? Because they talked about it, they became ambassadors, we made them part of the community, they shared in Facebook groups and other teacher groups, etc. And so that was really based on that first few champions. And again, related to that is the idea that you'd rather have, let's say, 10 people who love your product than 100 people that sort of like it.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah,
Your
totally.
tips.
Yeah, so let me just like take it from you because one of the way I gained my like first 10 clients and then like grew it to like 1,000, and it was word of mouth, right? So it was that word of mouth where you start working with one single client, and like for example for B2B, that's like really that's like a lot because you might just get like 10 B2B clients, but they're going to be the foundation, they're going to be the skeleton for your revenue and just like your ambassadors like you said. So for me, and I think tip number one would be word of mouth, right? And as a founder, of course this word of mouth is going to come from you, right? So here we're talking about networking, we're talking about just like generally talking about your product. And yeah, like your very first customers are going to be your ambassadors if they really like what you're building or what you're offering. And here I would say that tip number two would be create value, first of all, right? So you might not be so much focused on charging people right away, but creating value and having people understand, oh my God, this is the value that I'm getting. Then you can negotiate your pricing, right? Because honestly, I believe, and this is not my opinion solely, but people have the money to pay what they value, right? So
Mhm.
you may charge um, $5, you may charge $25, and the same person will be ready to pay either 5 or 25 depending on the value they get, right? Depending on what they can find on the market and what they get from you personally. So definitely creating value, and I'm pretty sure all these sayings that give before you ask to receive, right? And they've been around since probably the people started communicating, with
Right.
each other. So that's something, and that concerns not only your life in general but business too, right? So and customers are people and they buy from people, so technically you have to treat your customers just as like other people in your life, right? And of course, like my tip number three is going to be social media. Social media definitely can bring you 1,000 users, 1,000 customers, 10,000, 500,000 customers, right? And I feel that the earlier you start that, you start leveraging social media. And not only like when I say social media, I also mean community. And especially now, I think like back in the day when I started English for IT, the community part was not like a big deal. But I believe that now creating community around your idea, around your business, around your product will definitely help you bringing those 1,000 customers. And you know what? You won't probably have to pay for these people because you will gather the community around the value you create and around like I don't know free knowledge sharing or some other freebies, or just like, collaboration. And these people are going to be your early adapters, and they are going to be your ambassadors. So definitely community and social media, and especially like you have to see the trends of your customers, right? Like are you catering to Gen Z population? Are you catering to millennials? Like, and see what they value. Like, for example, for Gen Z, if your product is for Gen Z, but even if your product is not, well, it hasn't been developed for Gen Z, but now we live in the Gen Z world, right? So we kind of have to modify our products a little bit and see how we can offer it to Gen Z. Again, if we want to keep on the flow, like if we want to still do what we do. So yeah, that's also very important. So, and for Gen Z, for example, social media is something that, like, they don't even care about your website anymore. If I tell you the name of my company, you're gonna, like, first thing you do, you go on Instagram or you go on TikTok, or YouTube, right? You don't care about my website that much anymore, right? So that's something you have to take into account to get that 1,000
Right.
users.
Absolutely. And I think it goes back to who your target audience really is, because again, the only people that matter here, not your investors, not the gurus, not any course going to tell you how you can relate to your customers. That's something that you have to test with the customers. And thankfully, now we have so many amazing AI tools, right? Starting from even ChatGPT or BART, where you can actually create that persona or help create that persona. And then whatever you write or whatever you do will be relative to that. And of course, primary research is key, right? So I spent in my early days, I spent probably half of my time talking to those early users so I can understand their worries, their hopes and dreams, and how to really speak their language. And half of our team were teachers, and the other half felt like they were teachers because that were the people we were serving. And I think it's so important to breathe everything every day of their life and understand, sort of feel in their skin.
Yeah, totally. And like we are at English for IT right now. We're launching a new service slash product, and I've been talking to customers actually this week, like first like users that we asked to test drive this service. So I was talking to the users, and I loved it. And like you never know what you hear, and if you think that okay, this works, like I think this works, and then you hear this like opinion and like, oh, I didn't even think about this. Like, let me just like make this little tweak real quick, and then you miraculously can improve your product without like after just a 10-minute conversation with
Yeah,
the user.
yeah. Well, I wanted to, Anna, you did a great job talking a lot about B2C side of things, right? And I think that I just love one strategy that I've used on B2B side that I wanted to share, that I think in the early days can really unlock a lot of value. And that strategy is called cold email. People think it's dead, but I've seen and time and again that it works if you can personalize at scale. And so I had a first attempt at cold email myself, and I found that I just didn't spend enough time actually having enough volume. And so my advice to early founders is, if you want to try that strategy, get someone to help you. It could be an assistant or just someone that doesn't have to have particular experience in lead generation, but they just need to operate a tool, let's say like Apollo IO, or there are hundreds and thousands of tools just like that that can help you create that sequence. And so then it also allows you to target people based on their location, type of company, size of company, their actual title. Similar to LinkedIn, it has similar features, but it has actual component of that built into the emailing service. And so what is really neat now is that there are a number of AI tools that you can use to actually personalize at scale. And so actually one of these tools that I recently came across, and it's just mind-numbing amazing. It's called hotreach.ai. And what it allows you to do is to get this personalized snippet based on LinkedIn. So you can see what a person, maybe they recently changed a job or they recently commented on something, etc. So it creates that personalized context. And effectively, it's job to create a perfect first liner, right? That makes it custom and relevant. And so in tools like Apollo, you can then use that to make it a custom attribute. You can also even do it at scale. So you just load up a bunch of LinkedIn profiles and it will pull that data and suggest first liners. And then you can upload it into a system like Apollo. And so now you've got just as if you have an army of people writing those custom emails. But it is a numbers game. But there is, if you are offering something of value to the targeted list of people that you know will benefit from that value, you are doing them a service, in my view. And then the last
Amazing,
bit,
Vlada.
huh?
Amazing, Vlada. I'm already texting my team to start using the tools.
Good, good, good. And so then there is another AI tool you might want to add. It's called Hix.ai, Hix.ai. And what it does is actually humanizes the whatever other AI providers produce in terms of content. So it can sound more human, and now you have a perfect first line that's custom to the person you're reaching out to, and you have that sequence ready to go, and you add context, press send, and start booking
So,
meetings.
are you using those both tools together when you are? Is that what you recommend to use these both tools together?
I frankly, I have not used the tools, but I've seen that they produce relevant results and really add value to the process. I'm not doing lead generation these
No, no,
days,
no,
but
you're right. You already have 5 million, so they're spreading the word for you. Yeah, that's amazing. I also wanted to add to that for again for someone for early founders or someone who's planning to start a venture. It's what worked for me personally because when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I was I started a language school, English for everyone, technically. And what helped me become like build
the
the real
Anna.
thing, yeah, build the real thing that I have now, was understanding my niche, making my business niche. So like, I mean, taking that niche. So instead of teaching English to everyone, I saw an opportunity which actually I knew nothing about because I knew nothing about the tech industry. I didn't even know what product manager is, like what you have to do as a product manager or a software engineer, right? I was thinking maybe it's like you can set up Windows, something like that. Yeah, so complete noob. But when you understand the niche that you want to work in or you can work in, that will also help you get your users because people will, because, like, for example, if I am a tech professional and I want to improve my communication skills in English, my company is the first one to pop up, or it's actually the first five companies, like when you Google, to come to pop up, right? Because it's very targeted. So niche businesses is a thing, right? And if it, like, don't worry about the fact that the niche is too small. Sometimes a really small niche allows you to charge a really high checks, right, to a fee. So technically that's and it helps to find those customers or find users and turn them into customers.
Right. And also create this word of mouth, because then they would start saying, hey, oh, you're an IT professional. There is this opportunity for you, right? And so I think if there is one lesson to take away from today, this is it, Anna. It's thought provoking. Look at your customers, look at your early adopters, and figure out which group is growing, which group is really excited about what you have to offer, and lean into that 300% and become a big fish in a small pond first before you expand your pond.
I love this. Oh my god, yeah, you can expand your pond, right? You can be a big
Exactly.
fish and then you migrate to a bigger
Yeah,
pond.
you find a pond nearby that, that is
That's
not.
I know, Vlada, that you are doing just like me, abundance challenge, and that's the abundant way of thinking about things. I hope our listeners are also going to get into that abundant thinking mode, just like you and I, and yeah, they will feel abundance and see abundance in their user count and customer count and money in the bank count.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think that's a great wish for the day. Thank you, Anna. As always, it's been fun and lots of bites to chew on.
I'm ready to chew on real bites, actually.
Yeah, it's about time. Well, thank you. And we'll see you guys next Thursday at 1 p.m. And please follow both Anna and myself on LinkedIn. I'm live streaming it from my YouTube channel,
Just
Vlada
Google
Lotkina.
Vlada Lotkina and Anagan Vibura and follow everywhere. We're everywhere to be found. It's like you're nowhere to be found. We're everywhere to be found.
Yes, and our show, Anna, is just what 3 weeks old or so, but we already have a great fan group. So I'm
Thank you so
excited.
much, our fan. Make sure you share and spread the word because we are on a mission to get 1,000 followers for our show very soon.
Yes, exactly. Everyone chewing. Get everyone chewing. Bye, guys.